All right, we're live.
Live, Pete left.
Damn. He might have went to play cornhole with JR.
Damn. JR got the whole studio set up with black trash bags on the wall, and he can't even show up for his own broadcast.
I know, right? Well, you'll have that. I tell you, Scott, I've always liked cornhole. I thought it was a cool game, but they just don't sound right about that game. Playing cornhole.
Yeah, I love it. We used to play it all the time. He's back. Got a Slurpee.
That's right. An alcoholic Slurpee. What's the good word, fellers?
I ain't got one. There he is. Probably went and packed some cornhole bags.
Damn.
I practiced about 3 hours today. I had to get some chili started. It took a few minutes longer than what I thought it would. I got it simmering. She's going to be good by the time the show's over.
Is there venison in there, or is it just beef?
I am using Genio Italian sausage.
All right.
Italian turkey sausage. It's really good. It's very quick. You want a flavorful pot of chili that's like just a couple ingredients and it's extremely good and it hits the spot. Gets you a pound of turkey sausage and a packet of the chili seasoning. I like French's chili seasoning. McCormick is very, very good, but I prefer the Chilio by French's with onions in it, and a can of Rotel and a can of Lux pinto beans with onions. Mwah, that's all you need.
Hey, let me ask y'all a question before we get started on the show. I'm not going to start talking about circle hooks tonight in Planterboard.
We should. You still need some education. You don't understand it yet. You still need some.
No, I went back to J hooks.
You're going to grasp it eventually.
No, well, I hope not. Listen, I went out Lowe's today, and I can't make my mind up about a grill. And Lowe's and Home Depot does not have a fucking charcoal grill, just a regular charcoal grill. I can get one at Ace, but I cannot find just an old school charcoal grill. What has the whole world just lost their damn mind? Seriously? And everybody's too lazy to use charcoal, and everybody's just got to put their gas.
I'm gonna take you to Walmart.
All you need is a Weber kettle, 22-inch. It lasts forever.
Man, I have been loving my
Weber
dang,
or Weber?
Weber.
I think it's Weber.
I've heard of both actually. So
yeah, now,
my first job there.
Is that a charcoal grill?
Mm-hmm.
The egg. You talking about the egg, Scott?
No, just the kettle, the ceramic coated kettle, Weber. We've had one for probably 8 years. It still looks brand new.
Is that what you cook my steak on?
No, I cook steak on a Masterbuilt gravity-fed charcoal.
Oh,
that sounds fucking complicated to me.
No, it's
good. From what I can remember, it was good.
Hey, baby.
What was that, Scott? A ribeye?
Yes, that's the only steak there is.
That's my favorite. Although
you gotta switch it up from time to time. Do a tenderloin.
I love
ribeyes, but you gotta switch it up some.
I love it.
It looks raw all the time. It just looks not like you can cook it enough.
Yeah, it takes 40 minutes. You cook it at 230 for about 40 minutes. It gets up to 120, and then sear it on both sides.
Now that's the one that's red in the middle, right? Always red, no matter how you cook it, or is that?
No, you could cook the red out if you burn it.
What am I thinking? What steak am I thinking? This red.
Prime rib.
Prime rib.
Prime rib. Yeah, I don't like prime rib.
I like it when you take the steak and you turn it up on its side, on its ends, and you sear like the outer part.
I thought we were going to talk about fishing, not no damn cooking, because I'm fucking hungry after my dinner now. Chatting about this shit.
Well, I'm gonna tell y'all, Scott's a hell of a fisherman, but Scott's actually a good cook too. Scott be cooking us for shit on that grill.
I have
lay some of the dang 50-pounders there and grill them up, see what we can do with the ounce.
I've been practicing on my bourbon intake. I think I can hang with Scott now.
Shit. Last time I seen that, you was jumping off wild in the damn tail race, falling in the woods,
Well,
off the boat.
Yeah, I was.
Hey, you went to sleep in my lap on the way home. Scott was talking about dropping you off at the rest stop on 85.
Well, it had been years since I drank really any brown, and I'm back in the swing of things now. I think I can hang with him. I know I can hang with him at cornhole.
Pete, that morning, I'll never forget it. JR brought Scott a thing of McKenna Creek, and I didn't think it was. I didn't think they was gonna do this. Scott looked over and kind of winked his eye, and then he looked at JR, and I said, "Oh hell, here we go." He said, he said, you need to at least have one drink. You brought me a bottle. We need to at least have one drink together. And about an hour later, that fifth was gone.
And he had my favorite mixer too.
God.
Favorite mixer. He had a cooler full of ice cold Diet Dr. Peppers. That was all she wrote.
Are you left-handed, JR, or right-handed?
I'm right-handed. Why, are you left-handed?
No.
Why are you asking? For cornhole purposes? You don't want none of this, Scott.
Uh-oh.
You probably don't even have any bags.
So he's quit catfishing. He's quit striper fishing. He's officially quit bass fishing, and now he's going full-time cornhole. I
will say this: I did not fish any over the weekend. I fished Monday night last week, and I haven't been fishing since. I've been doing nothing but playing cornhole.
You trying to get in some cornhole league or some shit?
Well, we play at work on our break.
Sounds like you do more fucking playing at work than actually working.
Yeah, I do. Anyways, we play at work. We have they have tournaments at work, and I started getting in some tournaments at work. I guess it's been about a month ago now, and I've been absolute garbage. I mean, I've been getting killed, and so I'm tired of getting killed. So I've been practicing, and I got into B League at work. They have an A League and a B League. The B League are for the sorry people. So I'm in the B League, and I go to the championship game tomorrow. It's a double elimination tournament, and I'm waiting on the winner of this game to play me in the championship. And if they win, they got to beat me twice. So I'm going to win the B League, and I'm going to graduate to the A League, and I'm going to win the A League eventually. I'm not going to stop until I do. So
James Long says there's 3 rednecks on here and a Canadian.
Who's a Canadian?
I guess it's the Canadian would. Well, I mean, Scott is close. He's closer to being a Canadian, yeah. But I think he's probably talking about Peter. Peter looks like a Canadian.
He's probably flew to Canada.
Listen, I thought we were going to talk about just let people ask questions and not whatever they wanted to ask, but
nobody's asking anything. Mercer says, "What's up, boys?"
Well, they don't know because you made a post: striper grouper versus.
Wes, I don't. You got to give me more information. You're just like, oh, let's just fill some questions. I'm like, okay, cool. What am I supposed to title that? What am I supposed to title that?
I called you on my way to the tail race today, like I have to do every Tuesday, and say, what do you want to talk about? And I said, well, we can do a show tonight. Just let people ask questions, and we'll answer them. And you said that sounds good.
Sounds good.
Then I see a post that says grouper versus striper.
What am I supposed to title that? Hey guys, we're going to answer some questions. Is that what the title's supposed to be?
You notice, Perry, I talked to Wes about this. Perry, you noticed in that subtitle there, it was grouper versus snapper versus striper. You notice what fish is missing in that whole context there?
Catfish.
Fucking catfish. That's right. They don't compare.
So I asked see if Mercer comment how he likes his little bow hook. I thought about getting one of them for years, but
what bow hook?
You pull up on the trailer and it latches the eye of your boat.
Did he get one of those like as seen on TV thing?
Well, it's called like a doodle or doodly or something like that.
That is one contraption I would actually contemplate.
I was kind of skeptical of pulling my boat out with, there it is, Drado, with just the latch. And if I had to put the strap on anyways, then it kind of defeats the purpose. So I was interested. You know, if you pull up and it latches and you can pull the truck out, That'd be awesome.
Well, if you're by yourself, like I am most of the 99.9% of the time, you still got to get off the boat and get in your truck. So, I mean, it's not really helping me that much.
I mean, I guess it would help if you had you were in a situation where you pull your boat up and it slides back,
My friend Spivey went to, where did he go? Mountain Island, and he went and fished upriver behind the Counts Ford Dam. And he said when he trailered his boat, because they got a new access up there that's pretty close to the dam, so if they're running water, the current's extremely strong. And he said when he was trailering his boat, and he has a 22-foot Scout, and it was just him and his wife, and he was trailering his boat, and the current like slammed his boat up. It actually moved his trailer, like it as he was like trying to pull his boat up on the trailer, like it was the current was moving the whole trailer over, and he said it wedged his his wheel up in between like a pylon and concrete something another.
Sounds like they put that ramp in at the wrong angle for it to be in a
man.
That ramp is literally right in front of the dang turbines, like maybe a mile down, not even a mile, perhaps downriver. And it's just a straight shot. So
they didn't angle it towards downriver.
It's more so a ramp for like your kayaks and small little tracker type boats.
That's what I was going to say. A friend of ours at work had an awesome tip. Like I would have never thought to do this, but like when he backs his trailer down, he, like you said, Scott, he backs his trailer down with the current, so you can pull in and you don't have to worry about that happening. Which I thought was absolutely brilliant. I would have never thought to do that.
With my other boat, it was that what kind of trailer was that? It was an aluminum Westco, but like if I got it in and we were at Harwell, it was storming bad, like 20-mile-an-hour winds, and it did the same thing. He backed the trailer and you could just see it. It kind of floated and just. You gotta
have that happen.
You gotta put the trailer in shallow. Then hopefully you got somebody driving. Put it in shallow, hit it, let them back up.
David said he's really pleased with the build quality. He said, "I'll find out this week."
Yeah, I'm interested in that.
He also said, "We don't ever talk about the title. Nothing new.
We don't."
That's not my fault, David. I try sometimes.
Well, hey, let's talk about you're talking about fishing. Listen, every fish fight's different, but there's no comparison saltwater to freshwater. And a lot of people may not believe that. If you don't, because you've never fished saltwater before.
There really isn't. Freshwater's way better.
It's just unbelievable.
I agree.
It's just how much stronger a saltwater fish is. I mean,
well, I mean, but what does that even mean? Like, who is that? Like the end all be all? How strong?
Yeah, it's more of a challenge. If you like to fight fish, you want something that's going to give you a fight.
I like women, but I don't want my woman to be Arnold Schwarzenegger.
She's good at cornhole.
that didn't even sound right.
I know, right?
I mean, well, like you said a minute ago, fish fight differently.
Take that comment, but
would you rather have an 80-pound gag grouper, or would you rather have an 80-pound wahoo? I'd rather have a gag.
I'd rather have a gag
wahoo.
Grouper.
But a wahoo will absolutely smoke and just dust the clutch of a grouper. So
I don't know. No, maybe for a minute on the strike, but at the end, a 30-pound grouper will drown the wahoo.
I think it has a lot more to do with how you fish for them too. I mean, yeah, groupers pull harder than anything, but you're downright fishing their structure, so very little drag. I mean, I'd rather see a 40-pound striper blow up on a trout than to hook a grouper on a dead shrimp.
Shit.
My thing is, though, like you saltwater guys, you go out there, you're bottom fishing on a live bottom. You're not necessarily targeting one species. Like,
no, you don't know what you're gonna catch.
Like you're just filling the cooler up. You're just catching like whatever, But when you fish freshwater, you're targeting a specific species, and pretty much anything else is a bycatch, and you don't even really want it. You don't even really like it. Like if you're bass fishing, you don't want to catch a striper. If you're striper fishing, you don't want to catch a catfish, so on and so forth. But when you're saltwater fishing, when you're especially bottom fishing, you'll take just about anything.
Well, hell, you've got grouper, you've got 4 or 5. So you got snowy grouper, you got strawberry grouper, you got the gag grouper, you got vermilion snapper, you've got the red eye snapper, you've got the blackfin snapper. I mean, you got trigger fish. You know about a trigger fish, you almost lost your finger with one. You know, I mean, there's just so much. There's so many different fish out there that's actually good to eat. I'll tell you there again, I still like shark fishing, but
you guys make fun. You same guys make fun of people.
Wahoo, the biggest wahoo we had 3 weeks ago got sharked, and that made me madder than hell. 40-pound wahoo, and that shark just nailed his ass. So I'm reeling in half a carcass.
Explain this to me, Peter and Wes. The saltwater guys, you go out there, there's really no bycatch. You're keeping everything if it's legal. If snapper are in season, you're keeping them. Grouper, if they're in season, you're keeping them. You're keeping black bass. You're keeping everything. It's going in the cooler. But yet you shun the people in freshwater that keep fish. Explain that.
Anyone keeping fish, because I keep my fish freshwater or saltwater usually.
Okay, well you're a guide, so okay, never mind. Disregard you. What about Wes? What about Scott?
I don't shun people that keep fish.
So you don't mind going to like somebody going to Middle Tennessee catching trophy striper, throwing them in the cooler and taking them home, cleaning them?
Not 40, 50-pound fish. I don't think that's right, but to each their own. They got to live with it. You ain't never seen me complain about people keeping fish. I know I don't.
What about what about 50-pounders from?
But JR, but now you're trying to compare apples to oranges. You're the ocean. You're talking about millions of fish versus thousands of fish.
Also, so the ocean's more sustainable.
Well, yeah, I would say so, but I don't say nothing about what people catch.
Freshwater, you can fish every day, imaginable 365. Saltwater, you can't.
No.
Well, what about the bait situation? What about the what is the bait that is scarce that the commercial fishermen have?
If there's scarce bait, that you can target something else usually.
Absolutely murdered.
Menhaden.
This is the Menhaden. Yeah. Well, what about that? I thought they were sustainable.
No, they are in South Carolina. They've killed them up in Chesapeake Bay. You know, all those Menhaden that come in the bay, they're just slowly.
So over harvesting isn't a problem then in saltwater?
It definitely is.
It definitely is.
Some places for sure.
It absolutely is. Yes. I mean, look at the striper. How's Chuck, Timon, Manny, and what's his name? What's the Clemson guy?
They caught 60 fish yesterday, I think.
60 fish. Smallest one, 30 pounds.
Nothing under 30 pounds.
That blows my mind. That is the most epic thing I think I've ever heard in my life. That's heaven. I think when I die and go to heaven, I think that it'll be Chuck, Timon, Manny up there with his boat. And I think that that's the day that we'll be having like every day for the rest of eternity.
I'll tell you, he's just a hell of a fisherman. That's too much for me. I don't want to catch that many fish. I'd be dead. I don't want no part of that.
He's a heck of a fisherman, but is it true that he can't even back a trailer?
Well, to hear him tell it, he can't.
I think that's got to be a joke.
No, he had trouble backing mine. But like he said, his boat, he has his boats trailered. His boats, he don't move them himself.
He's got that. Well, that's got to be like a record, like for like ratio wise, like that's got to be like that. He's got to be the best fisherman that I know of that can't back a trailer. There's no other fisherman that can.
Oh, Wes, are you saying that he has someone tow his boat for him?
Yeah, he
just leaves it in the water.
No, he has his boat. When he brings his boat from New Jersey to Chesapeake Bay, he pays a company. They go pick the boat up, put it on a trailer, bring it to Chesapeake Bay, put it in the water, pull it over to the bay, pull it over to the marina, tie it off for him. When he gets done, he has it took back to New Jersey.
I wish I had Chuck's money.
I know, right?
And then he's got, his boat, the place he's got in Hilton Head, he actually bought a slip down there. He bought a slip.
You told me Chuck's story, by the way, some time ago, and that's pretty incredible. And that's all luck, no doubt about it.
Yeah. And he just got something at the right time.
That's a far out story. That's a far out story.
Google him.
I believe you, but it's but it sounds very amazing.
The biggest thing about him, I think, to me, he's not snobby at all. Just to talk to him, you wouldn't know that.
I love him. I love him to death. You know what? The moment that I knew that I liked Chuck was when we were on that cobia trip and he scolded you he hurt Wes's feelings. He
that
scolded.
was Chuck.
He yelled at him out there.
Clint.
No,
was
it was
Clint talking shit.
Chuck.
What did he
Chuck
say?
scolded you.
What did he say?
I don't even remember, but it got to you. And I was like, well, that guy, that's Wes's friend. That's not a fake guy. That guy is not sugarcoating anything. Like, and that's what a friend does. Friends, who's got Scott muted? He muted himself. Oh, okay. But yeah, that's when I started liking Chuck, is because, you know, it's one thing, you know that it's a true friend when they can do that. And I think that, you know, when us guys are together, you know, we do that to one another. And, you know, only, you know, you've heard that old saying, the old cliche, you know, like the new guy that enters the group that tries to say something disrespectful or out of the way to you, and you're like, hey, whoa, bud, you don't know me like that. And they're like, well, Wes talks to you like that, or Scott did it. Scott said he acted this way towards you, or he did this to you. And I'm like, well, you know, Scott knows me, or Wes knows me, or Peter knows me, but you don't know me. So
yeah, we don't have that type of relationship.
Right. Yeah.
But anyway, fighting fish, you know, that's why, hey, listen, I made a post last year. I did this last year, just fucking with the people on North Carolina offshore. And oh God, dude, I had guys telling me, one guy said I needed to get out of my mama's basement and get off my daddy's internet. But I made a post and I forgot exactly what I said, but this is to all you rich, bougie offshore guys. When you're fishing offshore and you've got a bent butt rod in the boat and the rod holder, you never take it out of the rod holder. You're not catching a down fish. Your boat and your tackle's catching the fish. It's not you against the fish. It's a fish against your boat. Oh God, dude. I mean, that thing got like 300 plus comments. I actually took the post down because I got tired of reading it. You talking about people getting upset. You think the striper fishing used to get upset about a commenting on a Facebook post. Dude, I thought that shit was going to go viral. This one guy told me I needed to get a fucking job and get out of my parents' basement. And I was using my mama's internet and I didn't know nothing about fishing. And I mean, it went. Do you remember that, Pete?
I don't remember it because I'm not a member of that page. Well, at least I wasn't until then. But yeah, you told me all about that. And it's kind of funny.
Keith called me. He said, dude, you just like starting shit, don't you? I said, I do.
Yep. Damn, Scott, I feel like your background has changed since like last week. What was it? Something more festive last week?
Oh, I don't know. She must have went to Hobby Lobby.
I guess so, huh?
Wes ain't got shit on Dean Cox. Shit. Ain't nobody got shit on Wes.
Wes, weren't you hiring a guide in Tennessee? What, Catfish Dave?
Yeah, I was thinking about it.
I don't think Catfish Dave's a guide.
I know, but you know.
Hey, you know, I tell you, man, they said Tennessee's dead this year.
That'd be a smart move.
Some fish hit and miss, but
he would rack up if he did. Man, people love that guy. I'll tell you what, though, they love him, but that's a lonely life. His life is it's a very lonely life.
It took me like a month to finally get him to unfriend me. I just thought he was a joke. I said something about him living with his parents, and I think that finally got him to. Well,
Dave's got thin skin, that's for sure. I mean, he definitely doesn't want any negativity in his life, and you know, even if
folks I know,
even like, you know, camaraderie, like, you know, talking junk, talking smack, just good old fun, you know, American boy stuff. You know, he can't take it. So it's.
I think I made John Mathena mad at me.
Oh, really? I mean, he's a boomer, right? I'm pretty sure Mathena's a boomer. So you have to, you know, there's a generational gap there. So you have to be careful. Like he can definitely misinterpret things.
So you're saying Tennessee is dead this year completely?
From what I'm hearing, they're catching a few fish hit and miss. I've heard some fish have been caught on the Caney, but they said East Tennessee is dead.
No, wait a minute now. You know, everything was kind of slow, and then all of a sudden, you know, we had Barney on here, and it just went haywire. They started.
Yeah, that was on the Caney, JR. That wasn't East Tennessee, buddy. East Tennessee's been dead for 3 months. Anthony Johnson, Bucky Moats, nobody's catching no fish. My buddy Richie went out with Bo about 2 weeks ago. They was on Chickamauga, and they caught about 5 or 6 good fish the first day. Second day, they didn't get a bite. And so it's really hit and miss right now. There's nothing steady in Tennessee no more.
You know what? We were talking about
fish we did like about a month back.
We were talking about Catfish Dave being a guide. You know what? Who would be a good guide in Tennessee and could make a lot of money?
Scott Perry.
Scott Perry, absolutely. But Scott Perry's just, I'm pretty sure Scott Perry just doesn't really like Tennessee that much. But
I feel like Scott Perry's way too laid back to be a guide. It's like, yeah, well, whatever.
Yeah, we didn't catch shit. Too bad.
$500.
I mean, that's what they all do, anyways. Don't let them fool you.
I need a tip too, 5%.
You can't tell me that some of these guides. Never mind. I'm not going to say that. But who I was going to say was Wes. I think Wes would make an excellent guide in Tennessee.
West cuss your ass out and then want money.
People would absolutely love to fish with
What did that last comment say? It was up and down.
Oh.
He would make a great guide. West is at his best when he is trying to put someone else on fish.
Took his boat to the trout farm.
I tried to tell him, but he said he got it turned around. But yeah, I just, when I take somebody fishing, I just like them to catch fish. And luckily, like when me and Lori took Shane and Jane out, the troll bite, I missed a mahi by 200 feet. I could have went out 200 more feet and nailed him. We got one big mahi, and I think we had a wahoo run, and that was it. But we really got on the bottom fish. I found a place right beside Lori's bottom, about 100 yards. Actually found it by accident. And Pete, did you look at those pictures I put up?
I think I did, yep.
Josh messaged me. He said, Wes, that is a live bottom. Because if you look at my bottom, it looks like hair. Looks like grass growing.
Yeah.
He said that's exactly. And, I told you a couple of times I would pull up and I was getting like sponge and shit on my hooks.
Well, I bet Scott Perry would love to get some scuba gear, go down there and manicure that shit. Just like grass.
He said that's money.
Real bro.
Yep.
Let me ask you this, Pete. Being a guide, do you make a lot of decisions that you probably wouldn't make if you didn't have clients? Well, if you were just going fishing, let's say with a buddy, or just by yourself, like you get out there and you're probably, because you're wanting to put your clients on fish, you're being decisive and you're probably taking chances and making a lot of decisions that you probably wouldn't be doing a lot of the things if you didn't have the clients with you. Is that correct?
That is absolutely correct. Yeah. I mean, there's no doubt about it. The pressure is on, like on every trip. Before I even put the boat in the water, I have a plan A, B, C, and D, in my mind already set. Lake Norman, JR, man, as you know, that damn lake will humble you. You can go to a place and catch them good and go to that same spot the very next day and poof, gone, nothing. Or they're there, they're not biting, so you got to kind of sort of know where to go, biggest thing is you got to know when to quit and try somewhere else, because, if you're trolling circles for 2 hours, people aren't happy. You got to.
And I think, you keep it being optimistic, keeping a good attitude with your clients. I think that your clients can see what this guy, he threw everything at him at the kitchen sink. If it just so happens that, it wasn't a successful trip, you didn't do well, but you went out there and you were decisive. You went places, you went where you thought they should be, and you did everything that you possibly could. And you were being proactive. People can see that.
Facebook user.
And it's not like that. I mean, they're actually involved too, in every decision that you make, your clients are involved in everything. And, they're getting to experience that entire process. And I
got some friends that are guys. I know exactly what you need to do to be a guide. If you're not catching fish, you ride around, you look at the grass and you'll say, there they are. They're right on the, right here. They're right below us. They're not feeding for some reason. They'll feed. We're on them. They're right here. You see this? Yeah, we're on them. Just give it a time. Give it time.
Any truth to that, Peter?
Not entirely, no. No. I mean, a lot of times I point and said, they're here, man. They're just not biting.
Yeah, exactly. That's what every guy said. But I got a few friends of the guys. They say, that's what I told them. I said, it'd kill me to take people's money and not put them on something. And they're like, well, that's just part of it.
Well, Peter has a good job. He's an airline, pilot. So
there's been, out of the many trips I've run, I'm using a round number here. Out of 100 trips I have run in the last 2 years, there's maybe been 5. I was like, you know what? If I was fun fishing, I'm not satisfied with results, so pay me half price, and so guys appreciate that. But I'd say that if I'd caught more than 8 or 10 fish in a half-day trip, then most guys are pretty satisfied. Because a lot of these guys, they go there and fish all day and catch 1 or 2 fish,
Now, do you ever pick a trip up and you're not prepared? Do you ever, or do you wait?
No,
do you
I am literally, that's the hardest part of being a guide, being prepared every day, meaning tying rigs or rigging up for the next day.
So do you make sure that you're prepared when you pick a trip up, or have you ever picked a trip up and you weren't prepared?
A lot of times I will be in the water 30 minutes prior, and I use that time to tie up some more hooks or rigs or, get the rods ready.
Well, that's not, what about finding the fish?
Finding the fish, a lot of times, us guides talk, so I know folks fishing High Rock or Baden or Norman, for example, so generally speaking, man, JR, you know how it is. You should know where the fish are at any given time, and so if I have not fished for a week and, I hadn't had a report, those are the days I usually do best because I'll spend time and kind of look versus go there and drop lines. Does that make sense?
Yes.
Hell, I've been on 2 guide trips in my life. They both were offshore and they both sucked ass.
That's because you didn't go with me.
Terrible.
Listen, here, my take on a good guide, and this is just one. I think this is one of the most important things that makes a good guide. And I was talking to Daryl Barney yesterday or day before yesterday, because we was talking about Tennessee. For a guide to say, look, the fish ain't biting. I don't know where they at. Don't come. I don't want to just take your money.
Oh, yeah.
I think that says a lot of integrity for a man, because some people will say, hey, I want to come fishing. I don't care. I just want to go fishing.
I've heard Anthony Johnson say that he does that. He'll tell the clients, hey, listen.
That several times as well. There's been times where I told guys that, hey, even though lake was below 15 and 20, this is not a very good day. We can give it a try if you want. If you're dying to go fishing, let's do it. If not, there'll be better days. And a lot of guys are like, yeah, you know what, I appreciate that. Let's go.
I think some of them people don't get on a boat. Like they just like riding on a boat. Just being out on the lake.
Out on the water.
That's true. I think so.
So most of my guide trips, I'd say 90% are wintertime. And so the wintertime guys are fishermen usually. So they understand what to expect or what not to do, that kind of thing.
So a fisherman can definitely tell, okay, this guy was extremely proactive. He
ain't much of a fisherman if they go with a guide.
True.
What do you prefer most, freshwater or saltwater guide trip, Peter? Which would you rather do?
Freshwater because it's less fatiguing.
Okay, it is pretty fatiguing.
Saltwater wears you out. Just riding. The riding in saltwater wears me out more than the fishing does.
I will say this: I've been in Peter's boat and I've been in Wes's boat, and I think that Wes's boat rides better than Peter's. I think Peter's boat rides well. Don't get me wrong. I think it does ride well. But I think Wes's boat, I think that they did something very good when they made that. What kind of boat do you have, Wes?
Carolina Skiff offshore.
What year is it? 08?
8, I think. Yeah.
It's a 08 with low hours, and that was the year. I think they made them heavier that year than heavier that year than the later years.
That boat is 6,000 pounds dry.
That's a heavy boat. That's way heavier than your boat, correct, Peter?
Yes, definitely. So ask yourself this: which boat will ride better when shit hits the fan? That's the real test.
Wes is closed. His bows is enclosed. So his that's going to take rougher seas. Which one's longer? How long is your boat, Peter?
That's true 23, roughly.
True 23. Okay, I think Wes is a true 24.
I think it's 20. It's 25, and then my deck is 2 foot.
So he's got length, you know, and you know how important that is in rough conditions. And then he's got an enclosed bow. So I'm going to say Wes's. However, Wes's console is more forward than yours, so that's going to compensate somewhat. So
yeah.
But you got a pretty awesome vessel too, Pete.
It don't matter what you're riding, as long as you got a fucking beanbag.
That's what it really comes down to, for sure.
That's right. That's a fact.
Yeah.
But yeah, for me, just
they would both do better than the North River.
JR,
God damn.
JR, we were talking about fishing, but one thing I like about saltwater, Pete, I know you can attest to this. When you find fish, especially bottom fishing, not so much trolling. Trolling is totally different out there, but bottom fishing, if you find them, you're gonna fucking catch fish. Everything's hungry. Everything's trying to eat something else in the ocean. Just like when I see fish on my depth finder, how many times JR have I said, "Hey, here they are, let's drop." We caught a fish every fucking time. It's almost like a given. It's like those bottom fish, they don't go by fucking moon phase or the barometric pressure or the current. If you find those fish, they're going to fucking eat. I mean, that's another thing I like about saltwater.
Well, there's only one situation where I've struggled bottom fishing, only one, and it's very rare. That's when that current is absolutely ripping. When that current's ripping, then fish won't bite.
Oh, really?
Also, when a hurricane rolls by the coast, for some reason, about a week or two, we'll say a week after a hurricane comes through, those fish won't bite either.
Now, Josh did tell me.
Scott's over here yawning. Look,
he said those hot spots you got, like your live bottom. He said if the right hurricane hits this year, you better find you something else because it won't be there.
That's right.
Yeah.
Scott, I got a question for you.
Yeah, shoot.
Striper. When they're not running water, and that's been one of the biggest things this spring is that everybody that's complaining about a bad bite. It's the reason has been, we haven't had a lot of rain, they haven't been running a lot of water, it's etc. Things related to that. So when you got those conditions, what would be like? Do the stripers there's all kinds of theories like around here. When you're talking about something that's highly dependent on current, like let's say around here would be Lake Rhodhiss. Everyone wants to go upriver in the spring on Lake Rhodhiss. Well, if they're not running any water, nobody knows where to go. They're like, well, we know they're in the river portion. We know they're up there in current, but there's no current because they're not running any water. So they're in the holes. They're in the deep holes. You got to pitch them holes. Nobody knows what are you talking about? Like what holes are you talking about? What are the striper doing? People think that striper have to continuously move. Are these striper continuously moving, or what are these striper doing when they're not running water, but they're upriver, or they're at least in the upper third of a reservoir, for example? Like where are these fish at? What are they doing?
Well, they're wherever the bait is, wherever the temperature is, right? I think when they're not running water, what happens is that spreads out. Like it spreads the fish out. They're still eating, but they're not gathering with the bait, with the big pods of bait. So if you talking about not running water for 2 days, I would still be in the upper end. But if you're talking about they haven't ran water for 2 weeks, I would probably be at the lower end in deep water if I was trying to catch fish. Because the bait and the fish are always going to be in the deepest part of the lake in the warmer months.
So do you think that there are any striper that, now I'm talking about mature spawning age striper, class striper, are they always moving? Is that true? I mean, I know that they have to move. I know that they require a lot of dissolved oxygen, etc. But what about trees, things like that? Are these fish actually, do they ever become stationary waiting on the water to get turned back on, or are they just swimming?
I mean, you can see striper in trees. But they do have to have some kind of current. They're not like a largemouth. They can't sit there and just sit in one spot. They got to have some kind of movement. Now, are they patrolling them trees just slow enough, looking for shad in the same area? Yeah.
If you look at the Tank and Bass Pro, see what the striper does. It swims around that stump the whole entire time. I figured that might be the same thing they may do when
Oh,
it's a
that's
situation where.
If you
not
ever,
a bad idea to go watch that.
if you ever see stripers in trees, or you assume they're stripers, they're not feeding. I mean, that's their hangout. They'll get down in there. I mean, I'm talking deeper water, 30-foot of water, and you mark stripers down the trees. They're probably not feeding. They're probably just down there cruising. If they got current, they're going to set upriver and just sit there. But
you're saying, like, as long as water, if they're stationary, 9 times out of 10, there's water moving across them. There's a current there, so they're not having to pick up objects.
Stripers are a little bit like sharks. I mean, you put them in a live well and see what they do. You know, they go belly up. They got to be moving, and they got to have current. They got to have water going through their gills. But that don't mean they're going 20 miles up river and 20 miles back. They might be circling, 20 yards. But yeah, when you don't have current for weeks and you're fishing a tail race, yeah, that's tough. Them fish spread out.
So I think that Cherokee, I'm bringing up again that tournament in Cherokee about a month back. That's a perfect example right there of them fish not being in the river. And all the guys that went up that river skunked. They all struck out. The guys fishing down lake, there's a lot of guys fishing way down lake, like Dustin, for example. I think he was way down lake. They did pretty good. We fished down lake, but not quite way down lake like that, and we did quite well. So,
I mean, everybody fishes.
You got to have running water.
Everybody fishes the tail race in the summer, and I do too for one reason. But if you didn't mind killing fish, you can go to the deepest part of that lake and catch some giants. I'd say probably 65-70% of them fish are at the.
Wait a minute now. I find that hard to believe. You're talking.
No, it's not. It's very true. It's very true. It's very true.
Well, let me finish. These are spawn age fish. You're talking about big fish, correct?
Mm-hmm.
Okay, these are spawn age fish. Are these fish not spawning? They're not spawning down there in the.
It's over. Spawning's over.
Spawning's over the summer.
Yeah, but it's not. Well, it's not summer yet.
Year 30.
Summer's not till June 20th. But usually these striper will spawn all the way till Memorial Day.
Well, let me give you.
It's coming up. I agree that it's over, but it's not all the way over. As well as I do. They spawn in waves.
Well, we already agreed.
You wanted to fight me last week about the spawn not being over. Now you admit it, they're over.
No, I'm saying it's over for a lot of the fish, not every single fish. But let me finish right quick before you chime in. That fish at some point was upriver. That fish went up to spawn or back in the creek. It made its spawn run. There's no mature fish, let's say a 30-pound striper, that's never going to go upriver, never going to go up the back of a creek. It's just going to, what is it going to do? Just absorb its eggs and just not make a spawn run and just stay in deep water?
They'll go up on the shallowest shoal and drop them eggs and go right back to their comfort zone.
That's a fact.
I agree, but it's not going to find that in the big pool.
Yeah, well,
it's going to be upriver. It's going to be mid-lake. It's going to be upriver.
DNR has proven.
Well, it depends on the reservoir.
Yeah,
depends on the reservoir. Smith Mountain, I would agree with you. Lake Norman, I would probably agree with you, but there are lakes that they're going to have to go.
Well, let me ask you this, JR. You got Russell. I don't even know how many acres it is. It's a big lake. It's got 3 major river arms. A big pool. It ain't as big as Hartwell or Clarks Hill, but it's big. And you got 1 cold water discharge on the lake. So do you think if every striper in Russell was below the tail race, you wouldn't be able to put a boat in without seeing stripers?
Well, we have to think mature stripers because the immature stripers aren't necessarily making that run.
Peter, where'd that 36-pounder at Cherokee, where was it caught? During that
lake somewhere. During prime time.
Yeah.
Wait a minute now. What's prime? No, that SBC was not during prime time.
Oh yeah, it was. That's when the fish should have been in the river.
What was the water temp?
I think it was 62, 63.
You think? You sound like you're pretty sure. You're
It's been a month ago.
Most of our stripers around here spawn in
62 is not prime, bro.
But that was after temperature dropped.
Six,
so-
yeah, 65's got it. 65, a sustained 65 plus is prime.
most of striper
I'll interrupt there. So 65 is prime for a spawn, but at 62, 61, 60, they should be fucking moving.
most of striper spawn is daylight moon phase.
JR, since Scott brought it up, just like Russell, you was talking about Russell.
Mhm.
Russell has an oxygen line. There's fish down there at that
Oh,
dam
really?
that will never leave.
Well, that's just air. It ain't oxygen.
Oh, well, but there's fish down there that will never leave.
Is that what it
Just
is
like
on
they'll
Clark
go
Hill?
up. There's a
It's
creek.
oxygen in Clarkfield, I think.
Oh, it's oxygen. Okay.
I thought that was oxygen. That's oxygen they're dumping in Russell, isn't it?
I think it's just air. From what I read, I think it's just air. But
I thought it was oxygen. But anyway, those
Air's
fish,
oxygen.
there's
well, it's not pure oxygen.
there's a creek like Beer Garden Creek. When you come out of that deep water, if you go in that like up in Beer Garden Creek, there's a bunch of flats and shoals right there. You got a small area to go into Beer Garden Creek. Those big fish, and like Scott said, DNR's proved it. There's multiple big fish that never leave that dam. They'll stay down there the rest of their life.
The problem is if you fish down there, you can't release your fish. And I have no interest in killing big fish.
Yeah, exactly. That's why I've never fished down there. You can downline trout down there and annihilate them, but you're killing trophy fish. Leave them alone unless you want to get one and kill it and take it home, put it on the wall, or eat it or show it to your
Man,
fucking
I
neighbors.
will knock the sides off that motherfucker. Let me go ahead and tell you right now what I'll do to it.
Well,
I don't think trophy stripers are worried about you, Jay.
Catch and release in the
Stick to
grease.
cornhole.
Damn it, boy.
Where's the house? Bring the house, Autry.
damn. Let's start with Scott. Man, he's already talking about the house Autry on our few little striper we got left in Russell.
He can't fucking catch a catfish anyways. Talk about striper fishing.
Hey, I play cornhole. I don't even fish anymore.
You're a cornhole champion.
I'm a cornhole champ.
Do we have any questions? None.
Do you have any questions? Guys, did you honestly think that we were going to get any questions?
I don't know. I was hoping.
Let's see.
Benji
He's on
said
that
the
brown
oxygen line
liquid.
hasn't been on in a month. Hadn't been on in months.
Who said that? Benji?
Benji.
Oh yeah, they don't turn it on till the summertime.
Well, Dustin Fisher says that they're still catching them in the big pool. They haven't moved all year, so he's going right along with what y'all are saying.
I call them residential fish. I mean,
I have to admit, I'm being educated here because that goes against everything I've ever experienced or ever known.
a friend of mine caught, and he fished. He lived on Hartwell, fished it all the time. He caught his biggest fish at the end of May, right at the Hartwell Dam on Hartwell.
Well, I mean, okay, the end of May. That's you're well over the spawn, but not you're not long after the spawn. But I mean, I would be surprised if he caught that big fish down there in the big pool. Let's say the first week of May. Now that would be.
Me and Heather won the it was the SBCC. It was the big tournament before the SBC. At the end of April 28th on the lower end of Lake Hartwell. We had a 28 and a 18.
You remember what the water temp was back then?
Listen, JR, I'm going to show y'all something. Scott, I don't know if I ever told you this. I talked with him about 3 years ago. And his name is John W. Lemons, and he is one of the engineers over Russell, and he does all their fish monitoring and technologies. And I wrote a little thing up about fishing on Russell when I first started fishing and how I fished it. And I don't know if y'all be able to read this or not. Let's see.
No.
Yeah, the determination of Richard B. Russell, dissolved oxygen injection system, efficiency utilizing automated remote monitoring technology. So yeah,
now when I wrote this,
dissolved oxygen injection system. So yeah, it's
now see, but listen, I wrote a report on this, and you see he did tag me. You see my name right here. Wait a minute.
Yeah.
He tagged me in that. So not trying to sound like a know-it-all, but that is dissolved oxygen. It is a dissolved oxygen line on Russell Scott. I just don't like telling a lot of people that because they'll be down there trying to kill all our fucking
Well, it
fish.
don't have oxygen tanks on the bank. That's why I assume.
No, they're coming up from Clark's Hill. There's a line from Clark's Hill that feeds the lower one. There's 3
Shit,
lines down there.
that's fucking 50 miles.
No, there's a tank. There's a tank right below the dam on the other side of the Russell Dam. You know where that boat ramp is? When you go, if you're going up looking at Clark's Hill Dam, there's a boat ramp over there on the right.
Yeah.
About a half a mile south of that ramp, there's an oxygen tank down
But,
there.
I mean, even if it was air, I mean, it's oxygen. So, I mean, it would. But
What's
yeah,
the best time to cut bait, Trophy Striper?
Anytime.
the best time would probably be post spawn.
Post spawn. I like it.
I used to, when I tournament fished 100 years ago, I would pull bait up until post spawn.
100 years ago.
Scott, what's your favorite? If you had to pick striper fishing, what's your favorite technique? Pulling boards or cut baiting?
Pulling planer boards.
What have you caught your biggest fish on?
Pulling planer boards.
Really?
But I mean, I just like the excitement of the strike more with the planer board.
I think that we need to get together on another James River trip. Me, Scott, Peter, and Wes. I think all 4 of us need to go. Maybe one or 2 more people. About 6 of us. Go get an Airbnb up in Hartwell, Virginia. Cheap. I'm talking cheap. This is cheap. It won't cost us like $100 each. We'll go to freaking Hopewell, Virginia, and let's say middle July.
Liquid ice.
We take either Wes's or Scott's boat, and we go out and we get on the water about 6 in the evening, and we fish till about 3 or 4 in the morning, and catch just monster blues. I think that would be epic. What do you guys say?
Well, I'm supposed to paint my room in the office, and if it's, I gotta watch it dry. Once it's dry,
listen, Peter, me and Wes and Scott and James Long went to the James We did we go there, guys? Was it fall?
June.
Summer?
June. It's like
June. It was hot as fuck.
I got a better idea. Let's go offshore and do an overnight trip.
Oh, what's boring? Oh, overnight. Oh, yeah. Now I'd like to do that. I've never been offshore like overnight. That would be epic.
I've done it several times.
Put a freaking light out. Oh my God, dude. Yeah, that'd be amazing. I'm willing. I'm down for that.
Yep.
I have more, Wes, to answer your question a little. I have more confidence in cut bait in tough conditions.
Really?
But I love to see a striper hit a free line.
You know what I would like for us? Let's just go fishing on Hartwell this July for catfish.
Party fish?
For catfish.
We'll go party fish and load a cooler and have a fish fry.
No, let's go trophy catfishing. Flatheads. Let's go target flatheads on Hartwell.
JR, seriously, that would be cool as shit. Just everybody get together, hang out, talk shit, catch some fish, cook them, drink some beer.
Let's go target flathead.
Hartwell is not a good catfish.
No,
it is bullshit. No. God, it is.
Let's just have this damn little tournament thing where
Hartwell is an excellent flathead fishery. Yeah. Let's go target. I'll teach you guys how to target flatheads. You'd love it. You're gonna love it. I'll turn you into flathead fishermen.
Cut a brim in half and throw it on the bottom.
I'll kick Scott Perry's ass at cornhole, and we'll grill a steak.
I've caught some big flatheads by accident on Clark's Hill.
There you go.
JR, as much as you claim to love flathead fishing, how come you have never come to High Rock Lake to do so? Because that is like the.
I've read a lot about the Yadkin. I've caught a lot of flathead on Norman and Wiley and the Catawba chain, but I've never targeted them on. But I have heard that Tuckertown as well as High Rock are great flathead.
High Rock is better than Tuckertown for sure.
Is it really?
Yeah.
I heard that river portion is pretty damn good on Tuckertown for flathead. But
Bring some extra gloves. Them ugly son of bitches.
Drew Rankin said that it fought like a trophy striper.
Me and JC caught a 47. Thought it was a tree half the time. Clark's Hill, yeah.
Let's see. This guy said
Wet
that
fish rag.
87 pounds won the catfish tournament this weekend. 3 fish.
Yeah.
So
Okay.
that's close to 30 pound average.
JR, now we were talking about fish size earlier. Why do you want to catch such a big trophy flathead? What don't you like your women? Would you want to catch a woman that was like a big old,
Damn.
That looked like a flathead.
Yeah, absolutely. I like my women.
It was different when I was talking about saltwater fishing, but goddamn, we're talking about an ugly ass flathead, and all of a sudden it's bigger
Oh
and better.
man, flatheads are awesome, man. You get you a flashlight with some good throw on it, with a red flashlight with some throw and
Precision cast.
precision casting, baby. Yeah, that's what it's all about. Precision casting on a main lake point. Absolutely. Get that live white perch right off the bank. Yes, absolutely.
So changing subject again, Scott meant to ask this question. All right, scenario here. The river, let's say the lake is muddy, nasty, fucking it rained like hell, and it's blood red.
Mm-hmm.
Would you pull live bait or would you cut bait?
Cut bait.
100%.
Matter of fact, I'd probably go as far as to use grocery store baits in those conditions.
I'm talking about catfish, striper.
I'm talking about striper. I've caught striper on Lugoff on marshmallows.
We had a bad tournament years ago. It was nasty. It rained. Me and Sumo, we pulled bait because it was like, it was early. It was like end of February, cold water. And finally we gave up. We actually beached the boat on this little island, and within 10 minutes we had like 5 fish in the boat, cut bait. They wouldn't touch They wouldn't touch pulling bait.
I was about to ask would time of year matter, but February.
Well, they can't see.
Right there.
They go by, stripers are very, they go by eyesight a lot. They do also go by scent, but they do go by eyesight.
I will say this about a catfish. From my understanding, a catfish has the best smell of any
They
fish.
do, but catfish also go by sight. But when the water's muddy and you're fishing tomato soup, especially current, grocery store baits are going to shine.
Cut
That's
bait.
probably the case with striper too. I would probably use chicken liver if we're talking about tomato soup.
I mean, if you want to catch some little bitty fish, yeah, I would too. But
they're still going to have lines on their sides.
Tough conditions, cut bait, like high pressure, like day after a rain, like any of your oh shit, I got to fish this day. Cut bait would be the go-to for me.
Gotcha.
Because I mean, like when you're cut bait and you're fish, you're not. I always say like with catfish, you want to mark fish, or maybe I don't know. You want to cut bait fish that are there. With striper, you want to cut bait where the fish are gonna be, where they're gonna travel. Like,
yep,
I've cut baited on the Savannah chain before. Yeah. I went down
on
there.
Hartwell during the SBC Act, we consider the whole cut bait thing, but there's pockets of clear water everywhere here and there. So we're like, now let's just do our thing somewhere else.
About 2009, I went down to Clark Hill by myself and cut baited. I cut live blueback herring and cut baited on a point and caught absolutely nothing. So,
It's you.
I'll let a secret out because I don't give a damn. But one guy was at Hartwell in a big tournament, and he won it on crawdads, cut bait and crawdads. And he did it because he caught a couple of fish.
What time of year?
It was March.
Yeah, March is a prime time for crawdads.
He told me he caught a couple smaller fish and filleted them, and they were slam packed full of crawdads.
Yep, I've done that.
But I've never tried it because
I bet you it would work, man. I bet you that it would work. I've thought about, because I know where some creeks are that you can get a 5-gallon bucket full of crawdads, and I've thought about putting them in a burlap sack and using them for chum, because
But I think a lot of it has to do, like, it's got to be where the crawdads are like out roaming. It's that time of year. I don't know what time of year it is.
yeah, February, March.
So, are we going to do y'all want to do an offshore trip this year? Maybe at least, how far out would you want to go, Pete, all night? At the ledge?
It depends what you guys want to do. Whether, I'm not going night fishing offshore unless it's pristine weather. Plain and simple.
I agree. I 100% agree. I do not want to be 50 plus miles offshore unless it's pristine.
I have some very good spots. I used to night fish all the time. That's from Southport. It is 45 miles. However, it's only 30, 35 miles offshore. It's on the east side of Shoals.
Yeah, that's not far enough.
Very good.
What do you fish for at night?
Grouper, snapper, everything else.
I want a swordfish. Go catch a swordfish.
Hey, Pete, just hypothetically speaking, suppose I was to hook a marlin and you get into the boat. What do you do? Just take a picture and a leader, or
get it boat side. You send the drone up. You tell
Wes, the day you get a marlin boat side and take a picture on your boat with your gear, I'm selling my shit. I'm fucking done.
What kind of gear does he need?
I mean, goddamn, I got Talica 25.
No, I'm saying he's that fucking lucky. I quit. I'm done.
I've got a fucking Shimano 50 wide now. Goddamn,
with an international 30
bring
wide.
A boat side and take a picture, and that's really about it.
International 30 wide work.
I'll say something. This
I'd drag that bitch on the boat and carry it to the ramps. What I'd do.
Sure, you will.
Like the old man of the sea.
Yeah.
A lot of guys don't go to the stream in July, August, but that's one of your better months for marlin, and not just blue marlin, but a lot of white marlin. So it's a very good time to catch them that time of year.
I seen a marlin caught the other day. It was like 140, 150 pounds. What's so great about that? I mean, what a Talica 25 or a Shimano 50 wide wouldn't catch him?
You said how much did it weigh?
I think it's 150, 160
Oh, that's a baby.
Yeah.
I want an 800 pound.
Shit.
Oh, hell
live
no.
in a fancy world.
Hell no.
What's wrong with that?
I don't want to fight nothing that big. I'd be like them boys from North Carolina. I'd have to leave that shit in the rod holder.
Yeah, absolutely. Leave it in the rod holder.
Do they catch many marlin off our coast?
There's a good mini caught, yes.
Yes.
But you got
bluefin tuna as well. That's really bucket list. You want to talk bucket list? Bluefin tuna in the winter. All
right, guys. Here. Perfect scenario this summer. Let's do this. We go out there for an all-nighter. We fucking go night bottom fishing. We wake up before sunrise, push offshore, and troll for marlin or whatever other else, and come back.
That's perfect. That's the kind of stuff that I want to do. My friends are going saltwater fishing in June, and I told them, I was like, listen, I just don't want to go. I don't give a shit about going out there and catching some Spanish and some snake kings, and like that does absolutely nothing for like what you're talking about, Peter. That's in my wheelhouse. I would do that.
My wife put a grouper on my boat before I did. What kind of shit is that?
It's bullshit, ain't it?
Ain't it?
That's how it works, man. It really does.
Hey, you guys are catching fish. I was like driving. I was actually towing my boat to Florida and like the Outer Banks and to catch fish like that. You guys are doing it like off the Grand Strand. That's insane.
Hey, let me show y'all what I bought. This is my new toy, Pete. You'll like this.
There's no denying, though, that the last several years, you talk about overfishing and all this, grouper fishing has gone downhill big time.
Pete, can you see the name of this rod? This is the lightest.
Yeah, I got one fucking eye right now. I can't see the name of shit.
This is the lightest rod. This is
I'm gonna say that's the Therese.
No, this is a Talavera boat rod. This is lighter than my Therese. This rod weighs about 8 ounces.
Wow.
All right, so let me ask you this:
motherfucker that's on it.
How much did you pay for it, and how much did you tell Lori you pay for it?
Wow.
The rod was $369.
That's a jigging rod, ain't it?
No, it's a boat rod. It's an extra heavy, fast action.
What length?
6 foot.
That's a jigging rod.
It's a boat rod, JR.
It's a jigging rod. What does it
Goddamn
say
boat
on
rod, JR. Look at the goddamn name on it, man. I mean, I'm not
Talavera?
right.
Talavera.
What's it say?
It does say Talavera boat, but that's
The
a
goddamn boat
jigging
rod.
rod.
It's a boat rod, JR.
What's the spec say on there?
Jigging rod.
It is
Read it.
fast action. Fast action, extra heavy. Length 6 foot, Power Pro boat rod.
What does it say for the weight?
Line 50 to 100 pound.
Yeah, that's a jigging rod.
It's a jigging rod. I agree.
Okay,
I know they're calling it a boat rod, but that's a jigging rod. Which that's a compliment, Wes. That's
What
a
does
good
that
thing.
say?
You would much rather have a jigging rod than a boat rod. I'm just telling you that Shimano is so frou-frou that they call a fucking jigging rod a boat rod. That's how frou-frou they are.
I love Shimano.
They are, yeah. Once you go Shimano, you don't go back. That's what
I
they
actually
say.
did something a couple days ago. I cleaned my damn storage unit, so now I know where I got shit at. The name of shit, Shimano, fucking this rod, that rod, fucking this lure. I got it now. I got it down exactly where it's at. You little fucker.
Whoa, baby!
Wes, boy.
Scott's
Well,
watching paint dry right now.
what they got you on, Wes? Some prednisone?
Yeah.
Yeah, I could tell you crunk. It's a goddamn boat rod, Joe.
Hey, this right here is the best shit ever made.
Oh my God. Look, he's on that good stuff, boy. A homeless dude would fucking put you in a guillotine for that.
You don't have none of them bent butt rods, Wes?
That's what you really need.
No, man, we're putting on a fighting belt, and it's stand up gear, baby. 800-pound Marlin stand up gear. That's what we're gonna do.
Listen, after Lori and Jane caught those grouper, and then Shane caught a strawberry grouper, I hooked up with that big fish, and I had a little beeliner. I put him down there live. He was down there like a minute, and I mean, he nailed it. And I said, "Fuck yeah, this is that big grouper." And I fought that son of a bitch for 30 fucking minutes, and it was a damn amberjack. As soon as it come up, I said, "What the hell?" That pissed me off.
You spoiled.
No, I just didn't want an amberjack. I was wanting a big grouper, but
You big spoiled.
You didn't catch no AJs?
yeah, that was an amberjack.
I mean, I'm sorry, redfish, ARs, whatever y'all call them.
American Red.
snapper,
So you
American
know,
red.
by the way, speaking of which, you saw on
Actually, we
Facebook
caught-
where the red snapper season has been announced.
When's
I
it
will
gonna be?
definitely be off on those days.
How
yeah.
many days we're gonna have this year? 3?
Fucking 2. That's it.
Hey Scott, I'd be happier going down to Lake Wiley and catfishing than I would going after fucking ARs.
JR, is this coming from the man that was smiling? You was holding it up, smiling from ear to ear, saying this is
Listen.
fucking unbelievable.
I know,
Listen,
right?
It was fun. It was fun making those videos with you, going out there catching, the reds and all that good stuff. But I got to be honest with you, I'd be just as happy catching 50+ pound blues, like literally anywhere.
Have
And
you ever
again,
got a
everybody
50+
likes what
pound
they
blue?
like.
Huh?
I like the saltwater, man. It's probably the last great thing I'll get to do in my life.
Man, you was smiling ear to ear when you threw up that little 30-pounder you caught on the James River. You were smiling ear to ear.
Who? I didn't catch nothing.
Yes, you did.
No, I didn't. I didn't catch a fish.
If I
out
was
there.
smiling
I
with
didn't
30 pounder,
Scott Perry, tell
Yeah, they caught one.
tell Wes he caught a fish. He caught a fish on the James
Yeah.
River. Yes.
We all caught one.
Oh, okay.
I think yours weighed like, I don't know, 30-something
I-
pounds.
Mine was the smallest.
Yeah.
I dragged that bitch to the boat before JR could hit go on the GoPro.
Damn.
Now, I will admit, I couldn't hold on to the motherfucker. But I dragged
you
him to
kept
the
dropping
boat.
it, yeah.
I dropped him on his head 20 times. He still swam off. He was
All right,
probably
guys.
smarter than when I caught him, though.
like a damn roach won't die, right?
All right, guys. Well, it's been a good show.
Oh,
Here
come
we go.
on.
Here we go.
I'm going to actually, I just got on here to send an invite to someone here. So
Okay.
we're
I'm
getting
going to
there.
let you guys continue on then. And I am going to go eat some chili and call it a night.
Practice cornhole.
I practiced 3 hours today. Yeah, I'm ready. I got the championship
Hey,
game tomorrow.
JR, Dustin Fisher wants you to read this comment.
Okay. I'd rather fish with Wes for panfish and a beanbag chair smoking Marlboros than trophy catfish.
God damn. Got him.
Good night, fellas.
Good
Love
night,
you guys.
All right. See you. Enjoy the
Good night.
yeah.
Can anybody
after
see any
the show.
comments?
Yeah, I can see the comments. If anybody
got it
here
as
wants to ask questions,
Ask Pete a question. The professional guide, West professional offshore fisherman.
And Paradise here, professional striper guy.
No,
Yeah. He'll tell you all the secrets, all of them.
I'll send you the wrong way.
Up lake or down lake, mid lake, left lake, right lake, fucking name it. Well, since JR's gone, maybe we'll be more productive here and get more viewers.
What
Just kidding.
what hook size do you use when you're pulling umbrella rigs? Does the hook size matter?
So it does actually, yes. I have custom made hooks, or should I say jig heads, that I have a guy make for me. And
When you
believe it or
say
not,
that one off,
they are 1/16 ounce. Yes, 1/16 ounce. And they are 2/0, I think. 2/0, but long shank.
gotcha. Do they bend?
They do tend to bend a little bit, but I mean, they're not bad at all. I mean,
Will they bend enough to get you out of a tree?
yes, for sure. I don't lose a lot of A rigs, and that's why on Hartwell I don't lose a lot of shit, because a lot of times you get stuck in a tree. You can normally pull it free. I mean, if it's a real tree, like an actual piece of wood, you'll get it out. But like if you're hitting a rock, it's gone, done.
Well, that's what I was thinking. It'd be better if they did bend a little, because you can still keep it in the fish's mouth, but get it out of a tree.
Now, I have lost fish due to the hooks bending some. Don't get me wrong, but that's consequence with what you're doing there. I do fight the fish on the A rigs with lighter drag, so that kind of sort of helps out with that.
Have you ever used like trolling sinkers instead of lead core?
No, the reason why is because if I got lead core or so the A rigs I only put in the down rigger. I don't put them on lead core at all.
So you never run them shallow.
Only on High Rock Lake. That's the only lake I will run a shallow on lead core. But anywhere else, no. As a matter of fact, if the fish are holding real deep, like I'm going to say 30, 35, 40 foot deep, that's the only time I will put A rigs on lead core. Only time. Otherwise, it's double rigs, bucktails, or shad. The reason a lot of guys ask, why don't I do A rigs on lead weights, and the answer is I know where my rig is on a downrigger, so if I set the downrigger at 20 feet, I know that my rig is fishing 25 foot or 15 foot, 20 foot. Does that make sense?
Do you run it like 100 feet behind the ball, or
three pulls? 3
pulls is all.
So I'll put it in the water and I give it 3 pulls. That's it.
Wow.
3 long pulls.
But you don't think the ball spooks them at all?
Not at all. Nope. I've actually had fish, and I'm not exaggerating, a couple weeks back, I think JR made a fucking joke, and, I shook my head at it, but I have had fish hit the ball. It's true. They do hit the ball sometimes.
Have you ever tried live bait in a downrig?
Never have.
I thought about getting some downriggers for live bait.
I would say it would definitely work. The thing is that you got to be moving, a good clip, because that live bait, you fish big bait, and I would say that your live bait may outswim the ball down deep.
Our bait usually don't swim. It don't usually try to outswim your boards.
But if you're fishing that deep water, it's possible that fish, that bait may take off. Now, not saying it won't work, and I guarantee you it will work, but you may have a lot more gut hooked fish. That's what I hear with guys fishing with live bait on downriggers.
There's so much slack in the line that time the fish pops a clip, they've already had the bait.
That's correct. Yeah.
Nobody uses downriggers around here. Hardly ever you see a downrigger on a boat. See a lot of lead core.
So here's the thing, man. I'm a numbers guy, okay? We talked about last week there, 2 weeks ago, whatever it was. On a guide trip, I don't want to spend a lot of money on live bait or time because, I mean, in essence, we're catching the same fish practically. So if I schedule my trip at 7:30 a.m., I'm at the ramp at 7 a.m. I know a lot of guys that have a trip at 7:30 a.m. and they're on the water at 5 a.m. getting bait and all that shit ready. You know, if I know I have, artificial good to go, there's no need to get up earlier. And
You have to run a special rod for downriggers?
No, ugly sticks. That's what I use.
Because I see some
I
guys
would
have
say
like,
medium action, maybe.
some guys have the big downrigger rods, and they got them bowed all the way over.
Yeah, I prefer the shorter rods. When I say short, 6'6", I think, because it adds that perfect bow. A lot of times also. So what happens with your bigger fish on a downrigger when they hit? It's natural, man. Them damn fish want to swim across the entire fucking spread in the back of the boat. So your shorter rod's a little better because you get to duck under rods and over, other rods that are, out there in the back. But you get a 7 or 8 footer, it kind of, that long rod kind of becomes more of an issue getting in the damn way.
How about this? You use the downriggers trolling for kings with dead bait.
I do.
Or live bait.
I do. So king fishing. Do you kingfish much at all? Do you know?
No, once a year.
Okay. So on my waters there, if I'm fishing the beach, and what I define as the beach, I'm going to say within 4 miles, I will not run a downrigger at all. If I'm going to say 8 miles, 8 to 15, 20 miles, I will have a downrigger down. And the reason why the beach bite, while on the beach is shallower water, but a lot of your action is on the surface. These kings don't really feed down deep overall. And, you're in about 30 foot of water. So that fish, king's got a damn good eye. He's going to see a bait fish 15 foot down, no problem.
You know what I found out a couple of years ago? We went down, there's the channel marker. As soon as you come out of the jetties at Destin, that usually holds, what are they, sardine minnows?
Cigar minnows, sardines.
Cigar minnows. And usually you can just catch it. Like you can load every sabiki hook up. But one year there was a hurricane came through and there was none. And I didn't know where to find bait. I trolled around looking for bait. And so I went to the bait shop and the guy said, "Use frozen." And I was like, I don't. And I swear the frozen cigar minnows outfished the live bait for some reason.
So I have a friend actually that he moved down towards Orange Beach. Does that sound about right? Down that way? He moved
Alabama.
2 years ago. And so he fished that same area practically. And those guys down there don't know a damn thing about dead bait rigs at all. Period. And I told him exactly what to get. And that man is out fishing guides and everything, pulling dead bait rigs with dead bait or fresh live bait. Don't matter really. So does dead bait work? Absolutely, yes, for sure.
What were you telling him?
I was telling him to troll Macahoo rigs with dead bait.
Oh, okay.
And, he got that. He placed like a huge order, $300 worth. And I mean, he's wearing the damn fish out. Spanish, kings, mahi, you name it.
I tell you, on the king rig, just free lining with the current or bumping the trolling motor. You can catch anything: blackfin tuna, kingfish, dolphin.
Yeah.
There's even been guys that catch I haven't, but there's guys that catch a lot of sailfish.
I've got a couple of sailfish trolling for kings now. So dead bait rigging, you don't really catch a lot of sails or variety overall. But when you put live bait out there, live cigar minnows, live pogies, especially, that's when everything opens up. You can catch literally anything that swims out there. I've caught, so pulling live. So most of my live bait trolling is within, I'd say 15 miles. So you don't get into a lot of big game fish out there. Yes, I've caught sailfish and amberjack doing that. But the further you go out, the more likely you are to catch sailfish, dolphin, whatever else is out there. Tuna, especially.
Blackfin, baby.
Go out there in October, you'll catch blackfin pulling live bait. But yes, most of my stuff's further inshore targeting kings only now. So you got less options closer in. But we catch our fair share of cobia, sailfish, Yeah, everything. Mahi especially too.
I heard pinfish are real good for grouper.
Pinfish are tops, no doubt.
Because you can catch down there. We rent a place with a dock, and you can put a pinfish trap out and catch.
I'm gonna tell you what, though,
A dozen of them.
Them pinfish, they work amazing on those red snapper also. Fuck yeah. Oh yeah. The problem with live cigar minnows, and I can catch live cigar minnows, in my area as well. But live cigars, man, they are just so damn fast. A lot of times, like the cigar will see the dang fish coming after it, and it will get out its way every time.
Yeah, when I'm pulling live, I got to sit there and tend the lines because they'll try to cross each other.
Exactly. If I'm trolling live bait like pogies or, I don't really troll live cigar minnows. There are times where I will try to get cigar minnows in my tank, and there's only one reason for that. And that's if a mahi shows up behind the boat and he won't touch anything, you throw that live cigar minnow out there, he will hit it 99 out of 100 times.
Hey, Pete, like right now where the Menhaden is, well, I heard about a month ago, they said it was all over the beach at North Myrtle Beach. They said it was everywhere.
Still there now.
Okay, now how are you spotting that? But you just right out there, because I'm like, when we're on freshwater, you can kind of like, especially Gizzard said, you can see them flick the water.
Look for the other boats.
But I mean, what are you looking for out there? Say you're by yourself and you're wanting to find bait. You're just trying to mark it.
You need to come with me kingfishing in the fall, man. I'm gonna tell you that will open your eyes up on a lot of things. But there's a couple things I look for. Number one, a lot of times in the distance you will see pelicans slam in the water.
Yeah,
that's tall-tail sign number one. Number two, sometimes you will see them flipping and popping on top of the water.
They run the beach too, right?
They'll be on the beach to 20 foot of water, 25 foot of water. So that's about a half mile out sometimes, maybe even a mile out. A lot of times you're going out there and you come upon a big black ball. That's your pogie as well. The one thing that a lot of guys aren't good at a lot of times is, let's say you're running the beach and the bait fish might be deep. Okay, the pogies, we're talking about pogies here. They might be down deep. And so you won't see pelicans hitting the water. You won't see the black ball. You won't see the flipping at all. But a lot of times you're running the beach and all of a sudden, like you see like your normal water and then you see a slick on the top. You'll literally see like a calm patch of water in the middle of nowhere. And a lot of times that's a sign right there that that's a school of pogies as well, because the pogies produce an oil that flows to the top of the water, and it's kind of smelly too to get near it as well. So
you throwing a net on them 20-foot deep fish, bait fish?
Yep.
Bait net or regular net?
Believe it or not, baby, I can throw a fucking cast net. I got a 10, 12 footer out.
I know, but you doing a regular net or
1.5 pound per square inch?
Not a tape net?
Per square foot, excuse me. No.
Because that's pretty deep.
It's pretty deep, yeah. And
you're talking about kingfish.
Times are pretty tough, but a lot of times these pogies, man, they're in very tight schools. So when they're there, man, they're there. You throw that net one time and be done. But tournament fishing, for example, you want the biggest pogies there. So a lot of times I'll throw the net one time and I might catch 50 or 75 in a net full, and I might keep 15 and throw the rest back and throw the net again, and catch the bigger ones.
That's what I'd be interested in. Kingfish tournaments.
There's going to be a lot in my future this year, no doubt.
Hey, what's the big one they have? Rumble in the Jungle is when? July?
It's the U.S. Open. That's the big one. That's the big one.
I'm talking about the one they have out of North Myrtle Beach, out of that marina right there behind Captain.
I think that is the Rumble, and that's October.
Last year, I was going to try king. I went and bought all those McAhoo rigs you told me about, which I like because I like the way the hook sets in it. It's got that little place in the eye so your bait don't wobble around. That's what I like about the McAhoo. But so I'm on the radio, right? Because I didn't know what the fuck I was doing. And I kept hearing them say, and I heard everybody say, they're down by the pier. They're down by Cherry Grove Pier. They're right off the pier. So hell, here I go. I take off. I go all the way down to Cherry Grove Pier. I'm getting at 42 miles an hour. Bam, 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 hitting 3-footers. I get down there, and then I heard on the radio somebody said they're right there by the 3 boats. So I get all the way over there, and I get my binoculars and look. You know what the fuck it was?
What?
The dolphin people. They're chasing looking dolphins. I'm trying to chase kingfish. I thought the kingfish was down there, and they're looking at dolphins.
We knew you were a damn Verizon fucking warrior. Jesus.
Well, when you don't know what you're
Motorola,
doing,
baby, I'm telling you. Yeah, so down at Oak Island, my neck of the woods there, we have code that we talk in, and Mercer, if you're still listening, man, be ready for it, because if you're down there in June, if you ask for where's the bait at, and a lot of guys will, when I say code, you gotta be familiar with the area. They'll say, all right, it's by Lockwood, or it's by Middleton, or it's by the Big Hill, or by the Ocean Crest Pier, or by the Lighthouse, that kind of stuff. So, a lot of guys talking code. It's not really code, but the locals know what you're talking about. And you better say pogies down there, because if you say, hey, anyone know where Menhaden are or where the bunker are, they'll be like, you fucking Yankee, get the fuck out of here. I swear to God, every time.
Bunker. Does anybody know where the bunker?
Goddamn Jersey fucking shore boy, get your ass motherfucking out. Yeah, you get it all the time. So you better call it pogies down there.
I think kingfish. I love that slow troll kingfish fishing. I mean, that's.
If you are excited by a striper hitting a planer board, you're gonna love that shit in the fall, man. I'm telling you.
I like how they.
I'm gonna tell you right now, I do know that I'm gonna be off the last 10 days of October, man. So I mean, and that is your prime time for trophy kingfish. So
braid ripping off an open face.
Braid.
You don't use braid?
I don't use braid, but you probably could,
I love it.
Why couldn't you use braid?
What's that?
You got Top Shot. Why couldn't you use braid with a mono Top Shot?
Well, if you use all mono, you got braid out there. That braid will cut right through mono.
Do what?
Braid will cut through mono.
What do you mean? I don't.
If braid touches mono, it'll cut it.
Well, I ain't had that issue yet, and I got braid on every reel I fish offshore with Top Shot on it.
You'll have that issue at some point if you mix in mono at some point. So if you're trolling live bait, you want mono because braid sinks and that mono floats a little bit. And so a lot of times you want your bait fish on top of the water. Oh,
well, I'm trolling 8 and 10 miles an hour with dead bait. So
yeah, I get it. We're just kingfishing now.
Yeah. Oh, okay. Hey, listen, I still say, Keith said I could try it, but when it's calm out there, I still say you can kingfish with fucking planer boards. I don't see the difference in having a planer board out there and an outrigger. Couldn't you, Scott?
You probably could.
The only thing is, I don't think you want too many lines out kingfishing is the problem.
No, I mean, like one on each side. Like if you had 2 outriggers, just put 2 planer boards out there and then 2 off the back of the boat.
Wes, I'm gonna tell you right now, these dang not gizzard shad, these pogies that you troll, they're stronger than damn gizzard shad. They will outswim your fucking boat. So you put those on a planer board, they might cause a issue in your spread.
I thought about the planer board thing too, and it would work 100%. But I mean, when I'm king fishing and I'm the only one that knows how to fish on the boat, I just run 2 lines because it goes haywire quick when one hits.
Kingfish are inshore now, ain't they, Pete? They're
inshore now, but it's just a few. I mean, it's not like a wear them out this time of year right now for them.
Now, how do they fish for them on the pier?
They have 2 rods. They have an anchor rod, and then they have a rod, a fighting rod, basically. I used to pier fish for kings all the time, way back before I owned a boat. My college, high school days.
They can't troll. They can't troll. So what I'm saying is, how do they get their bait out there? How do they present their bait?
So if you're listening, give me a second here. Let me finish. You got 2 rods. You have an anchor rod that you cast out there as far as you can, and then you pin a clip on the anchor rod, and you slide your bait on the anchor rod attached to your fighting rod to the water.
Kind of like an outrigger, planer board type deal. You got
and so that bait fish swims on top of the water. You see it at all times. If a fish hits it, it unclips, and you're fighting it on that one rod right there.
Oh,
I tell you, I was out at the pier just walking around during prime time cobia in Destin. And you better not go to the end.
Yeah.
I mean, they'll spot one, and these guys got these rubber swim baits about this big on these 12-foot rods, and they all run to one side of the pier, and they're all, yeah, you better not walk out there, boy. You're going to get a hook in the head.
Yeah, that's what I hear, too. Now, down there in Florida, they don't kingfish on piers like we do in NC. cast plugs or they free line baits, I think, or something like that. But yeah, they don't use anchors and anchor rods like we do in NC.
I think I would take up bowling before I pier fish.
Man, I'm gonna tell you. So I used to pier fish a lot, and you go out there with a case of beer because you
when I lived in West Palm Beach, Florida, and I fished on Lake Worth Pier, that was my only fishing outlet when I moved to South Florida. And I can remember anytime they called for a west wind, you couldn't get a spot on that fucking pier because everybody was out there blowing up fucking balloons. When you had a west wind, they'd use a balloon. And what they used to do, a lot of those guys, they'd take a lifesaver and they'd take 2-pound test line and tie it to the swivel, to their 3-way swivel, and put about a 4-foot leader on it with a balloon, and then just let the wind on outgoing tide in a west wind, and that thing, it might carry it out there 200 or 300 yards. Or if you got it where you wanted it, you could just jerk your rod and pop your lifesaver, or just let it go until the lifesaver dissolved, and then just drop your bait. That was one of the coolest ways. I seen Roy Booker. He was fishing a little bit different than that, but I watched Roy Booker in 1980, let's say 85, it was 86 or 87. He caught the world record permit while I was on Lake Worth Pier.
Nice.
The world record permit off of a pier.
Nice.
But,
Yeah.
That was my first introduction to saltwater fishing, was on that pier, and it was just cool as shit.
You know, everyone trashes king fishing. You know, kings aren't good to eat. And I agree. They're not the best fish out there by no means. They are good, you know, cooked certain ways, you know. But man, something about king fishing, man, is you're not burning a shit ton of gas to get out to them in October. That's the biggest thing. You know, you can go out there. There's no need to get up before sunrise. You get out there on the boat by 7:30, 8 a.m., catch your damn bait, go out there, you know, and you're done by 3 o'clock if you want to. You can fish.
Well, you got that kind of laid back, slow troll, and then all hell breaks loose. And it's like,
and that's exactly right. You know, all you got to do is throw 6 rods in the damn boat. That's it. That's it.
I mean, and it's easy for a Guggen.
Yeah, exactly. Well, I don't know. As West might be a little tough for him. I don't know.
I mean,
casting that. You can't buy this damn bait. That's a fucking fact.
That's why I probably won't do it. Fucking
Yeah,
kingfish.
probably
I'd rather have a bougie wahoo.
Probably not. What was I going to say? The last couple of years in October, we've literally had to run about 20, 25 miles to catch bait, and then run 20 miles back towards the direction we came from to fish.
Fuck all that.
You know, the last couple of years have been pretty tough as far
If
as
you can't buy bait, I probably won't have bait. I mean,
I'm telling you, you're not going to be able to buy bait. You don't. You can't.
that's what I'm saying. If I can't buy bait, I won't fish. I don't give a damn. Y'all can throw the net all you want to.
just bring some trout. They'll eat a trout. I wonder how long a trout would live in saltwater.
Sling that net till your balls turn blue. More power to you, brother. Catch on.
Don't take much at all at the right time.
More power to you.
It's all about fight. If you can spot it, that's all it takes. You spot it.
I will say that catching bait in saltwater is a whole lot easier than it is in freshwater. Just because there's more of it.
It can be.
I know there's times when you can't, but like you said with the pelicans and the birds.
The birds won't always show you where the bait's at, as you know.
Oh, he froze.
Freshwater as well, you know. But yeah, it can be tough. Sometimes where, you know, biggest thing. So there's advantages of not being out there at sunrise to kingfish. You know, if let's say you get out there at 8 a.m. A lot of times you jump in the boat and run the actual the beach. We call it run the beach. You know, trying to find bait. A lot of times by then someone's found it and someone will tell you via radio, or you keep on going until you see fucking 18 boats sitting on one spot.
See, there you go. You do the same shit, Pete. You listen to the fucking radio, don't you?
I'll be honest with you. Actually, a lot of guys, they find my damn boat and then they
there you go.
You can literally so here's the funny thing.
You're a fucking Guggen. You're a goddamn
here's the funny thing.
Guggen.
You can literally run the beach and you can stop and just walk to the front of the boat. And next thing you know, you look around, you got 8 boats next to you. True story.
Just stop the boat. They think you found the bait. So
all of my friends have actually nicknamed me Eagle Eye because I can actually spot bait about a mile away.
Wes, I can guarantee if you pull up and you see like 5 boats with cast nets, you can pull up and say, "I'll give $50 for 2 dozen of them damn boats." I guarantee they'll load your damn boat.
Just so you know, by the way, in the if you fish in king tournaments, by the way, Scott, there's a lot of money involved in king tournaments. I don't know there.
The tournament, they ain't gonna give you that.
There is a rule written in the tournaments: no boats may share bait.
Oh, hey, did you hear what happened in the Rumble last year, Pete?
Probably, but I can't remember.
You know the swing bridge at Little River. In North Myrtle Beach. You know where the swing bridge is there at Captain Archie's?
Yeah.
You know it broke.
Oh yeah, so a lot of boats got stuck back there.
Before, and a lot of boats got stuck in Intercoastal. They couldn't even make it to the tournament. Couldn't get their boats out. There's not a boat from Captain Archie's north. I think the closest boat ramps on the other side of Lulu's down behind Bass Pro Shops.
Yes, it's a long haul. It's the next inlet down there for sure.
Yeah. So a lot of people got fucked on that one.
Yep. Mercer, they will not touch a swim bait down there. No, don't waste time on it. Get a big ass bucktail maybe, and if you get lucky and the cobia shows up behind the boat, be ready.
So how's the weigh-in go? Tell me how the weigh-in goes.
It is.
You got a time. You got to be
mass chaos. You have a time that you must be in line by, and that line, these tournaments, 600 boats sometimes, so yeah, it gets pretty crazy.
So you get in line and then you pull up. There's a section of a dock you pull up to, unload your fish, weigh it.
It's actually very organized, shocking enough. So, you got a 3-person crew, 4-person crew. You literally, they jump off with the fish and you pull away and you pick them up somewhere else.
Oh, okay.
But it's very fluid, very organized usually.
You going to fish the Open and the Rumble?
Absolutely. I'm already in.
Both of them?
Yep.
I don't know if you ever heard of they call it the Destin Rodeo. The whole month of October is the tournament. And
I heard about the rodeo. Yeah, I hadn't really got the details, but yeah.
So there's it's almost like it's like a big pontoon. It looks like a tiki bar, and it's got a hoist and the scales, and it's got a guy there with the microphone. And every evening it's like 4:30 to 7:30 is weighing, and the boats pull in to the side, unload their catch, they weigh it, and so they have like almost every fish that you can catch, but you're not going against the charters because it's boat size, so it's like 21 foot to 25 foot, 25 to 28, 30, but
so there's a reason why I got the boat that I got. And main reason why is because a lot of these king tournaments, they have what's called a small boat division. And my boat fits in that small boat division. Here, the last several years, they've kind of altered the rules a little bit to allow more boats to enter it, which I am so against. But hey, it's like you got to adapt to it, So the small boat used to be 23 and under. Okay, so that's technically a small boat. Now, the last several years or certain tournaments, it's been 300 horsepower or less. So now you can have a 25 or 27 footer with twin 150s. That's now considered a small boat, and so it's kind of really pissed off a lot of folks, but hey, you just live with it, adapt to it, and so be it. But I do
like that rule though, that they have boat divisions, because if you're grouper fishing against the guy with the sport fisher, But
here's the thing, though: small boat can win everything. It's like anything else.
Especially with a kingfish tournament, because you're not really having to run, or
Correct. I can literally. So for the U.S. Open, for example, it's like $2,000 entry for everything. Now you can win, but like the boats that are over 23 foot, they can't enter the small boat, but I can enter small boat plus everything else. Does that make sense?
You can get in the whole thing, yeah.
You get your general entry, just name a few. General entry, small boat. Then you have the TWT high roller, super high roller, and just keep on going from there. But yeah.
And they got the big fish and the.
It's not like what you expect. So it's a 3-fish weigh-in. However, the one biggest fish wins it all.
Oh.
So there's no technically one big fish or big fish entry. It's the big fish wins it all.
Really?
So why do they have the 3 fish for the other places?
So the tournament has a lot of special weight prizes, and that's how the tournament makes money, because the more fish you weigh in, so once you weigh in a fish, it is their possession. You cannot take the fish with you. And so they throw all the fish in a cooler and they sell them at the end of the tournament to commercial market. Most of them go up north to New York and New Jersey to the damn Yankees up there. But that's how the tournament makes their money back. Now, you have a lot of sponsors that throw in little carrots there and say, all right, my sponsor is Paradise Charters, okay? If you weigh in a king mackerel that weighs exactly 15.5 pounds, you win $300. And so they have a whole list of special.
Did they have like the first fish weighed in?
They do actually. Yep. There's a big deal for the first fish weighed in. What is it?
Kind of like the big rock, Scott.
Kind of, sort of, yeah. But a lot of it is kind of an inconvenience too, because the weigh-in, the scales don't open until noon. And so you can catch the first fish and wait there for hours for $500. Is it worth it? Maybe, maybe not. A lot of guys, they might catch a mid-30s first thing in the morning on day one, and that might be worth running all the way and waiting there for the scales to open at noon.
So what's a if you had a fish that you felt was a contender for winning would weigh, like if you caught a fish and you thought, man, I'm in good shape.
A 40-pound?
High 30s, no doubt. Yeah. Our best finish in this tournament, we've not last year because we got blown out from the hurricane, but the year before was my worst finish overall. But I've had a top 50 finish in the last, I'd say, every time I fished practically. Mind you, a few times here and there we didn't, but we've had very good luck in the U.S. Open overall. Our best finish was 7th, and we had a 34-pounder, 7th place.
Hey, how many boats can you
see
see out there?
Actually,
how many boats can you see out there off North Myrtle Beach during a kingfish tournament on the Rumble in the Jungle? 200 or 300 at a time?
Well, you say off, you say off North Myrtle. I don't fish off North Myrtle much, so I couldn't answer that question. But where I'm fishing at, usually you can sometimes see 200, 250, 300 boats in that little area. It's chaos out there, man. It's a complete mad chaos. No doubt about it.
You remember when the ESPN2 used to have the cool fishing tournaments and shit? They'd have the kingfish tournaments and all that shit on.
What was it called? It used to be called something. I do remember that, yes.
And they would run like the 2 pounds of drag and make it so dramatic.
Mm-hmm. Yep.
They catch some big ones, though.
Oh, yeah, definitely.
Hey, this right here, speaking of that, let's see here. Hold on a minute. This was my first kingfish. Let's see, wait a minute. Find it.
So,
all right, you ready? This was my first kingfish. This is pretty cool.
Here we go. We are not live, baby. Look at that streamer. Oh boy, he's hauling ass.
Wes, I'm going to tell you this, all right?
All right, go ahead.
So you were out there in like 15, 18 miles out there, but when you are in shallower water kingfishing, it's a different aspect, man. Because them fish, they don't die. All they got to do is go left to right, offshore, inshore. They run, buddy. I mean, they absolutely blister drag.
You know whose reel that was, don't you?
Keith's, right?
You recognize it? Yeah, it was one of Keith's reels.
Oh, yeah.
Had like 5 pounds of drag on it. I could pinch my fingers together and pull the drag.
So anyways, back to the rodeo. I didn't get in it year before last. And I usually don't get – I'm down in there in October, but I usually don't get in it because I'm only down there for a week. But Heather caught I think it was 28 or 29-pound kingfish. Mm-hmm. And in the women's under 25-foot boat, the winner was 16.7 pounds. So she would have won it by 10 pounds. But
so I got to tell you my biggest sob story overall here. This was maybe 8 years ago, give or take a little bit. We had a major hurricane roll up the coast. This is during the U.S. Open there, about a week prior. It dumped a lot of rain. A lot of fresh water came down a river in the ocean, and so the fishing sucked. But the tournament was held anyways. And so we planned on fishing this tournament anyways. Myself, my friend Jared, and his brother, Derek. And Derek, he runs a business, and he was actually in Seattle doing some work, and he was supposed to fly back 2 days prior, I think, and kind of join us for the tournament. And the day before, his flight got canceled. So he was stuck in Seattle, and it was just myself and my buddy Jared. And so we contemplated. We're like, you know what? Fishing sucks. This, that. Let's not fish tournament. But we're going down there anyway. Let's have fun. Let's fish, drink beers, so on and so forth. And so we woke up the next morning. It was the first day of the tournament. It was Friday. All these boats are out there fishing. Fishing sucks. I think we're out the day before and catch anything. But I'm like, all right, Jared, let's act like this is the real deal. Let's act like this is a tournament. Let's go do this, So we took off, ran way down the beach. Only damn boat there. We caught a fucking 42, a 38, a 37, a 35, a 31, all in the same day. And the biggest fish weighed in that day, 19 pounds. That's how shitty the tournament was. All right.
So it's $2,000 to enter. Like you win the whole. Let's not say all the side pots, but just big fish. What's the average?
80K. 80K.
You going fishing, Scott?
So this is a 2-day tournament, by the way. This is a 2-day tournament, okay?
Yeah.
So we caught all them fish, and so during that day, I have a lot of friends that, it's funny because we don't talk much, but come kingfish season, we're like best friends. So we talk, back and forth all the time, help each other out. There's a very small group of folks that I'll tell them anything, and I can trust them to tell me anything likewise. And so I made 3 phone calls, and, unfortunately, the spot I was fishing at was way too far out of range to make it and weigh in time, okay? Dieter Melhorn actually was out there that day with me as well, and he caught good fish likewise. So the very next day, I called my best of friends. I'm like, hey, listen, we're not fishing a tournament. We won't be there tomorrow, but here's where we caught these fish. This is no bullshit. Go here. So Dieter fished it the very next day. He said it went from just me and him fishing there that day to 75 fucking boats there the very next day.
That didn't tell a soul.
Exactly.
Hey,
I made 5 phone calls, and then they told their little cliques, and their cliques told their cliques, and that's how fast that changed right there. But yeah, so all the winning fish were caught from that area, and I think on day 201 it was 36 pounds, and we had a 39 pounder that day. And I still have pictures on my phone to this day of that day actually happening.
Take the blue bean down there, Scott.
$2,000 is a little too deep for my pockets.
Well, you get 4 guys involved. That's not too terrible.
Go with Peter.
Me and Peter
I'm gonna tell you right now, I feel like Scott and I can get along very well in a boat, but I run a very fucking tight ship, especially in a tournament like this. So yeah.
And I'm bigger than him, so he don't want to swim. He just did the eat first.
Hey, I'm gonna tell you right now, the last guy that tried to fight me on my own damn boat, he's no longer fishing my boat ever again.
He's dead.
That's why I like my boat. I do what the fuck I want to.
That's right.
Oh, I know all about being your boat during the tournament. Trust me.
Oh yeah, for sure.
Yes, sir. No, sir.
Yep.
That's a lot of pressure in an $80,000 tournament. Whew.
It is. It really is.
I don't have the skill set for that.
Just reel the fish in. That's it.
All right, boys. I'm getting off here.
So I feel like you can handle a king, no problem.
Hey, Scott.
I'd gaff in the belly like Wes.
Shit.
You remember?
That's the thing, though. In tournaments, everyone has their role. My role, I gaff the fish. No one's allowed to fucking touch the gaff. Period.
I know you're the
That'd
only
be
person
good.
that can gaff a fish in salt water. That's unbelievable. Hey, Scott, this is my first. You remember that boy Anson you talked to? You was on the phone with him for about 10 minutes. And then you called me back. You said, yeah, motherfucker right there's on another planet. Hey, this is who was with me. This is my first wahoo. This is the first bait that I rigged myself on my boat and caught. And Anson is like, he's like a commentator here walking through this. But look, I don't know if
going down memory lane, y'all, and gloating right here.
But listen to the drag.
First that, I'm just kidding. Go ahead.
Dude, hey, I'm proud of this, dude. Eat it in. We'll watch it.
Listen at his scream, baby. Listen at the hoo-hoo scream.
The hoo-hoo.
Wes got his turn. Now, folks, do we think that old Wes here can get his to the boat? Because it's screaming a little harder.
I'd be tighten the drag then.
Fucking damn got you on that. Right here, baby. Right here. Lift him up.
That damn fish better pull Wes overboard. You see that? And I hold him by his belt loop.
We'll bring him back to port here.
That was awesome, dude. I'll never forget that moment. That was like the best 10 minutes of my fucking life.
Oh, boy.
A bougie kingfish, ain't it, Scott?
The bougie kingfish. That's all it is.
Kingfish.
Eats well, man.
It probably tastes better. I give it that. But
it does. No doubt about it.
Black sea bass is the best. I don't know, that grouper we cooked the other night was pretty good too, man. I'll tell you that.
I'm gonna say, overall, black sea bass I think is better eating fish, and I had black sea bass for dinner tonight. Hell yeah, that's good shit.
I do like how the way the wahoo light up. I think that's pretty cool.
A dolphin, a mahi lights up.
Yeah, boy, you better take a picture quick though.
Yep.
Yeah, as soon as you hit him with a gaff, it's over.
He gonna turn ugly real quick on you.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Wipe that
All right,
blood off.
guys. That's fun.
All right.
Oh man.
Good one. Y'all have a good night.
See
Right.
Good night.